But airfares have risen, but only slightly and less than inflation. And so on a real basis, airfares for Qantas have not essentially gone forward.
Vanessa Hudson, welcome to the business.
Thank you.
Investors really like your result today, and that might have something to do with the special dividend on offer. Have you now got the balance right between shareholders, customers and staff?
Well, I think that, the share price is a reflection of how investors are interpreting, I think, the full result. And what the full result shows today is many of the proof points that we have said that we've been focused on in terms of delivering good financial outcomes that enable us to invest in new fleet, but actually lifting customer satisfaction. And we have seen that right across all of our airlines have all seen customer satisfaction increase across every touch point. But we've also seen an increase in employee engagement, and that's a really important part of making sure that our people feel connected with the organisation, loving what they're doing and delivering amazing experiences for our people. And that is what I think ultimately shareholders are expecting of us, and also, as you clearly say, being able to get the balance right is making sure that we continue to reward them through dividends.
Is it filtering the cultural change, filtering all the way down through all levels of staff, or is there still a bit of us versus them entrenched in the culture?
Look, one thing I would say about culture is Qantas has a 105-year-old culture, and it's steeped in safety and it's steeped in customer, passion for the customer. We're on a journey with our people to connect and rebuild relationships right across the system. So I'm not standing here to saying the job is done. The job, frankly, will never be done because we're only custodians of this amazing brand and this incredible culture as we go forward. But the one thing that I feel really confident is that the culture is changing and it's going to continue to change. And why do I believe that? It's because I talk to our customers, I talk to our people, and what I'm hearing from them is that they are seeing the change, but most importantly, they're feeling the change. And so, as I said, job never done. We're going to continue to focus on driving improvement now and into the future.
On the illegal sacking of the ground workers, you've paid a $120 million out-of-court settlement and also the $90 million fine. You're still saving hundreds of millions of dollars in annual salary costs. On the accounts I've seen, you are still ahead. Is this just the cost of doing business?
Look, absolutely not. And from the outset, I have said, in terms of the judgment that came down from the court, that I accept that, and we are accountable for those actions. And we are going to learn from this. There is absolutely no motivation that these kind of examples is a cost of doing business. We want to make good decisions going forward. We operate in a highly competitive environment. We make tough decisions. We've just made a really tough decision. We've closed an airline. We've just recently closed Jetstar Asia. We've had hundreds of people affected by that. It was an incredibly hard decision. And so going forward, as we face the economic cycles that we'll face in the future, we're going to make sure that we stare into what we need to manage the business, but do it right, and do it right for our customers and our people.
You said you want to be accountable. On the accountability front, Justice Lee has questioned how this has extended in you not appearing at the federal court hearing. Why didn't you?
Well, first and foremost, this legal process was 4 to 5 years long. That was many court appearances from executives and decision makers around this decision who were examined and cross-examined for years. And so based on that, I didn't feel that there was much more to add in that context. But as I said, recognising that we accept the decision of the judge, and we're going to learn from it, we're going to come better from it.
Justice Lee's suspicion is that you didn't want to be cross-examined by the Transport Workers Union's lawyers, which may show just how involved you were in the ground sacking in 2020.
Well, like I said, this was a penalty hearing. This was not about making a decision on the actual decision. And just to reiterate what I said, the people that were there as the decision makers, they've been in different court cases for many years and cross-examined quite sufficiently, and so therefore I just didn't think that there was more to add to that.
You were CFO when the ground staff sacking decision was taken. How involved were you personally, given that this was a financial decision in the end?
Well, this was a decision that was made by the CEO of our Qantas domestic business, and that the judge through that process accepted that he was the decision maker. As you say, I was a part of the leadership team at that time, and I don't withdraw from that. We were managing a very difficult time. It was COVID. When this decision was made, we were looking forward. There was no vaccine. We weren't flying. And so as the CFO, I was focused on managing liquidity. I was raising funds, from banks and securing aircraft, and we were making really hard decisions. But as you say, this court process has gone. The decision is what it is, and I accept accountability, and I have apologised. And I think that that's actually also a really important thing. Not only have I apologised publicly, I have actually apologised to individual employees as well. And I have also recently said that I would be prepared to meet with more employees to express my personal apology, but also the company's apology.
Alan Joyce said that that decision in part helped save the airline during COVID. Given what you know now, would you have made a different decision at the time if you were in that position to make a decision?
Look, I don't think it's easy in hindsight to reflect back and say, would I, could I, should I? That's hypothetical. And I think where we are now, we accept the decision that the judge has made, and we are looking forward. I'm really, really pleased that we've been able to reach a settlement out of court on the compensation, and that there's been a decision on the penalty, and we have paid both. And I really do hope that this is an opportunity for those former employees who have waited 5 years, can get their compensation as quickly as possible, and that they can move forward as well.
What do you think about the union getting $50 million from this settlement? Are you worried that they're going to be more resourced to litigate in the future?
Look, I'm not going to make any comments about that. That's a decision that the judge made in the penalty hearing, and I respect the decision he has made. The one thing that I would say about union relationships and what I've committed to is that we really want to work hard to rebuild the relationships with the unions to one that is constructive. And I think that that is really important, and we are doing that with our people as well. Now, that does not mean that we are not going to agree on everything, because we're not. But negotiations and relationships can be respectful, and when we have hard conversations or negotiations, that respect continues. And that's my commitment, and I've actually said that to all of the union leaders, but it's a journey. And we're both rebuilding trust with each other, and we've closed 8 EBAs in the last 12 months. So we are seeing outcomes come.
On the travel front, are you surprised by the demand given the cost of living crisis?
Look, demand has been really strong, and actually we're seeing it strong all across our businesses. First and foremost, Qantas, we've seen that strong for international travel and domestic, but the one thing that we're seeing is that corporate business travel is coming back. And that actually shows, I think, that there's a certain level of confidence in the corporate market, which is fantastic. But the one thing that I am most proud about is the role that Jetstar has played, because as you say, we understand that many of our customers are feeling the impact of the cost of living in Australia, and also that they also want to have that holiday, because work-life balance to Australians is incredibly important. And Jetstar, with the investment that we're making in the new aircraft, is able to bring, for 1 in 3 customers that fly on Jetstar, $100 or less in terms of being able to fly one way. Now, that's incredible value. And this last week, you're able to actually get a fare for $29 domestically. That has been a part of the Jetstar fares since the first day it launched. So we know how important that is, and we know that customers want to prioritise that travel. So we're going to make it as easy as possible to get fares, to get a reward seat, if that's what you want, going forward across the group.
There's a lack of competition in the market. I think Qantas has a 64% market share when you combine both of the brands. Does that mean you're sort of controlling prices here?
Oh, look, absolutely not. We welcome competition. And I think that the one thing that's really important is that you listen to your customers. If you think about the point that you make on prices, what we've seen on Qantas is that airfares have risen, but only slightly and less than inflation. And so on a real basis, airfares for Qantas have not essentially gone forward. Jetstar, as I said before, investing in many sale fares over a year, and 1/3 of Jetstar customers travel for less than $100. That's choice. And I think that what consumers say to me is that they want choice. There is a competitor who's in the middle of the market. We've got a premium offering with Qantas where you get all of the bells and whistles. You get lounge access, you get free Wi-Fi, you get frequency and network breadth. But with Jetstar, you get an unbundled product, but you actually get the ability to choose a low fare if that's what you want. So I think that there is options and a spectrum of options for Australian travellers.
And on Project Sunrise, this will be available from October 2025, so pretty soon. Can you give us a bit of colour around what it will look like for those travelling on board?
So Project Sunrise, for those viewers that are watching, is the new super long range aircraft that we've got coming that arrives next year. It's going to have 4 cabins, first class, business, premium economy and economy. But this aircraft has got an extra fuel tank. It's a 350-1000. And what that's going to do is that's going to enable that aircraft to be able to fly non-stop from either Sydney, Melbourne to New York or to London directly. And we know that customers really value that. We know that because we've seen that on Perth, London, and that is one of the most highly sought after and highest satisfaction routes that we've got on our network. And so Project Sunrise will have next generation seats. It will have a new first class suite. It will have zones in economy, between premium economy and economy, that you can stand up and you can stretch. So it's going to just take long haul travel to the next level.
And will those tickets on the Project Sunrise planes come at a premium to current international prices?
Yeah, look, it will be a premium, but it's no more than the premium than customers are already paying on Perth, London. And when you sit and talk to those customers, they say, I pay that premium because I value it. But we're also going to be flying through the midpoints as well. So those customers as well will have a choice. And the A380 will, if we're talking about Sydney to London, we'll be continuing to fly the A380, one stop via Singapore as well.
Qantas is paying corporate tax again for the first time in a while. Is that a sufficient return of the $2.7 billion that the government funneled to you during COVID?
Well, I think the one thing that if you're talking about JobKeeper went to our employees who weren't able to work. And I think that that's actually really important. They were stood down for many years. And so I think that that has been an incredible thing that the government did during COVID to make sure that our employees continued to have support through what was a time where we weren't flying. We lost $7 billion, $25 billion worth of revenue. So we're delighted though to be paying tax again. That means that we're profitable. Being profitable means that we can invest in new aircraft, new fleet, and invest in our people.
And just an outlook question, do you expect to see the same type of growth that you have seen in this period next year?
So what we're seeing is really strong demand, and we've seen that in July already, and also we're seeing that in August. So if we look forward, we're feeling really optimistic about the outlook for Jetstar and also Qantas, but also Qantas Loyalty. We're seeing really strong demand in terms of spending on credit cards and the like. So there's reason to be optimistic, but no more reason to be optimistic about the new aircraft that are coming.
Vanessa Hudson, thank you so much.
Thank you.